All right, so today I'm gonna video the preparation of the medication. And so what we got going on here, if you're new to the channel, is I do a self-infusion. And the reason I do it is because I have a rare genetic disease called Alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. At Alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency causes, it's a genetic cause of emphysema and or cirrhosis of the liver. So what happened, my body does not produce this alpha-1 protein properly. So what I have to do is take this medication weekly, put it in a little bag, and infuse it into my arm. Some people go to the hospital or a doctor's office or some sort of facility where they have this done. Some people have home health nurses come and do the infusions. I have opted to do it myself. Like right now, it's 9 o'clock at night. Did everything I wanted to do today. Had a great day. Had dinner, had a cookie, dog's sleeping, and so this is on my time. So I get to do this at my own convenience. So I don't have to waste any of my day fiddling around with getting this infusion. So it's actually very convenient. And it's not a big deal. Some people can, some people cannot do it. Anyway, so we have these vials of medication, which is basically the alpha-1 protein, which has been removed from plasma, which people donate. They make all kinds of different medications from plasma that's donated. It's pretty awesome. So, so what is this? Why is my alpha-1 proteins deficient? Why aren't the ones that I make good enough? So I'm a ZZ alpha, so I have 2 Z alleles. And what that means is that 2 Z's are about as bad as it gets. There's over 100 different combinations, but 2 Z's is bad. Nil is worse. Okay, there's a nil, nil, or Z nil, or S nil. I mean, that there's all kinds of things. And a nil means that your body doesn't produce it at all. So my body produces it misfolded. So the reason so the reason that it's gets cirrhosis of the liver is because the misfolded alpha-1 protein gets stuck in the liver and causes cirrhosis. It basically smothers the tissue and causes cirrhosis of the liver. So that's not cool. But what the alpha-1 protein does for us people, basically it is an anti-inflammatory agent in our systems. So what happens, why I get emphysema and why I have emphysema from having this disease, is that when I breathe dust or smoke or anything like this, my lungs sense that something's wrong inside there. And so what happens is that they send out this enzyme called neutrophil elastase. And these neutrophil elastase is like little Pac-Men. And they go in into your lungs, go into the alveoli, and they start cleaning, looking for bacteria, and they clean and they clean. And so this enzyme is a destroyer of tissue. And what it does is it's neutrophil elastase, so it's going to the elastase part of the lung, which is the alveoli, which is where basically when you breathe, it opens up and it takes in the oxygen, and then you breathe out and it kicks out all the carbon dioxide when you breathe out. And so this neutrophil elastase, it destroys the elasticity of the alveoli, so you take in the air, but it doesn't push the carbon dioxide out. And that's the problem. So when people are short of breath, it's not because they can't get enough air in, it's because they can't get rid of the carbon dioxide. All right, so there's something I learned. I always thought being short of breath meant I didn't get enough oxygen in. Anyway, but because I am short of breath, and that causes my oxygen levels to go down, I take oxygen when I'm doing stuff. Like right now, I don't really need oxygen, but when I'm out, like exercising and things, I need oxygen to breathe properly. Or, well, get enough oxygen into my blood so that I'm not damaging my system. So if you don't have enough oxygen in your blood, it starts to damage your organs and such. And so my lungs are already screwed up. We don't need any extra damage. So so I use oxygen when I exercise and fly and things like that go into altitude, because altitude makes a difference as well. So you got that neutrophil elastase in there, cleaning away on the alveoli and killing, destroying the tissue of these things. And so in a healthy person, what happens is the Alpha-1 protein goes up and neutralizes the neutrophil elastase and stops it from cleaning and destroying tissue. Now, my body does not create a quality and quantity of Alpha-1 protein to do that. So I have emphysema. Now, of course, smoking at a younger age didn't help any. But part of this whole thing that I do this little video deal is to raise awareness, because they believe there's at least 100,000 people in the United States that have this disease. Right now, there are 10,000 people that are diagnosed with this disease. So there are 90,000 people out there that don't know they have this disease, and they're out there smoking, whatever, and maybe doing a job that has, a lot of dust, house cleaner, not a great job if you have this disease. Coal mine, probably really, really bad. But you get the picture. Even a contractor, you're out there sanding and sawing wood all day long, drilling and such, and doing it without a mask because you don't know you have this disease. So it's not tested for very often. So part of my thing is to advocate for testing, and most doctors, they won't test for it because they think they will know if you have this disease. And most doctors, pulmonologists as well, have no idea that you have this disease until it gets so bad that they're like, wow, you're way too young, 50, to have this bad of lung disease. They said, we should test you for this rare thing, So that's kind of what happens. It goes too long, people are too sick, and they could have been diagnosed years earlier, decades earlier, and started doing this treatment, which slows down the progression of the deterioration of the lungs. So when do you test for this disease? If you have any sort of pulmonary issues, asthma, bronchitis, anything of that nature. You can do that. You could get testing. You could go to the Grifols website. Let's see. Can't tell if you can see this here. Let me look on my... Yeah, there we go. Grifols. Go to their website and you can they'll send you a test kit for anonymous testing, so you could actually test, and nobody will know except for you, because it goes in as a number and it comes back as a number, and so on and so forth. So they have no idea whose name goes to it. But if you're positive, most likely they're going to send you some literature and this and that, so that you know exactly what to do to start getting treated for it, because getting treated for it will slow down the progression. And you could also go to the Alpha-1.org website, and that's the Alpha-1 Foundation. I work with them. I do a support group in the Bay Area with them as basically the sponsor of the support group. And they do wonderful stuff. Last couple weeks ago, I went to Washington, D.C. and with a bunch of people from the support group leaders from all over the country and people from the foundation. And we went and saw congressmen, because having home infusions, kind of like what I'm doing, but with a nurse, them coming and doing this at your home, which a lot of us were very worried about going to facilities with the COVID, while the COVID was going. So when President Trump put in the Emergency Health Care Act, when the COVID was going on, we were able to get home infusions added to Medicare, because at this point Medicare will only pay for you to go to a facility to have the infusions. In Part B, as it was considering it's a medical procedure, if you go to an office, if you have it done at your home, then it's considered medication. And so that's a problem, because that means that you have to pay your deductible on your medication, depending on what your maximum out of pocket is on your insurance policy. Most is between $5,000 and $10,000, depending on what type of insurance you have. If you have like a major medical, or if you have like a real comprehensive plan. Like I have the best plan available, because I have to do this every week. All right. So that's the setup. So Congress went there and went and saw my 3 California congressmen and 2 Utah congressmen, and trying to get them to make this getting home infusions on Medicare Part B instead of Part D. You know, Medi-Cal, Medicaid, and all private insurance pay for home infusions. It's actually cheaper to have the nurse come to your house and do it than to have you go to a facility. So it's just I'm thinking that Medicare's just they just weren't aware, and so we're making them aware through the congressman. We're getting them to pass a bill. Anyway, I'll be back with the poking of the thing. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you in a few.